This episode contains upsetting topics and is not suitable for anyone under the age of 18. Please proceed with caution. I'm Nikki Druce.
And I'm Cheryl.
And this is Killers, Cults and Queens,
The podcast where we journey to the spookiest, scariest, and downright weirdest corners of the world.
We're kicking off Season 4 with one of the most unbelievable true survival stories you will ever hear. It's the incredible case of Mary Vincent. Only got room for her.
I don't like that.
Shoe is untied.
Oh, God. Just take it off. I can only imagine what little rascal Nikki Druce was doing at 15.
Probably all of those thoughts are correct.
Let's shake it, break it, make it bounce. Let's keep it trotting. Nikki Druce!
Yes.
Why are you telling me this?
Are you ready?
I was born ready.
Well, in which case, let's go. Imagine being 15 years old and stranded, trying to get home. Your only option being to hitchhike. So you accept a ride from a kindly-looking old man who seems nice enough. But instead of rescue, you instead find yourself bound and fighting for your life in the back of a van. With the odds stacked against you, survival seems impossible. But for the victim, Mary Vincent, something kept her going. And today, we're going to be sharing her incredible story. Welcome to Killers, Cults and Queens. But before we dive into today's case, welcome to Season 4, everybody! How does it feel to be back, Arshez?
Do you know what? It's always good to be back rock and rolling with you. And I've missed the cases. I've really missed the cases. And I'm just so excited to delve into a whole new season of spooky, scary, and downright weirdest corners of the world stuff.
Yeah, and we've got quite a lot coming up for this season, haven't we?
Just a smidge.
Yeah, the episodes that we've got coming up, we are really diving across lots of different topics this time round, aren't we?
Yeah, we're shaking it up. We're keeping you guessing what we've got coming next.
So just to give you a little idea of what we're doing for this season, there won't be 2 episodes a week, just one, because we don't have the marvellous team behind us anymore. So it's just us doing this on our own, which means it's quite a lot of work. So we'll just be doing the 1 episode a week, plus the bonus episode as well. So you still get the spooky sleepover from us, but it will just be the 1 episode a week.
And obviously our episodes will be out on a Monday and a Friday. But if you want to get them ad-free and a day early, then you can head over to our Patreon. Come support us at Killers, Cults, Queens, and we will be there ready and waiting to welcome you into our arms.
Into our hearts. So for the first time ever, there will be full video episodes to watch as well. And we are so excited to bring you video because this is where those cases are really going to shine. We'll have some images and also you get to see our wonderful faces.
I didn't slap this face on for nothing. And of course, we love that we've created this community with you all, and we always love hearing from you. So if you have any thoughts, any feedback, or anything that you would like us to cover, you can message us at Killers Cults Queens on Instagram. You can join us on the Patreon, and you can also email us at killerscultsqueens@gmail.com.
So when we were discussing our topics for Series 4, this was the one that I've been trying to get through, haven't I, since day 1.
She's been tussling. She has been tussling. I need the Mary.
It wasn't quite enough to split into 2 episodes. We had to keep putting it back on the maybe pile. But I'm so pleased we're finally getting to cover this one, as this really is my litmus test for most people when it comes to true crime cases. But I've had to keep this one to myself the whole time I've known you, Shares, which has been really hard because it's usually the one where I'm like, right, now I know you, let me tell you this really awful true crime story. But it ends well.
Which is a rarity with us, isn't it?
Exactly. So, apart from that very short teaser I gave at the top of the episode, do you have any idea what this case could be about?
Not a Scooby-Doo. Not a clue. And to be honest, that's the way I like to go into these now. But quite frankly, I know nothing about our Mary. And I'm excited to go along this journey with you. I have a feeling I'm going to have my hand held a lot.
Yes, and that's a shame that we're not sat in this studio across from each other because I can't do that. Well, it's time to cast our minds back to the dusty highways of 1970s California and to a world when hitchhiking was a normal practice for most teenagers to get around. But after listening to today's case, you'll soon find out why people change their tune about it. So if you're ready, let's set the scene.
Go for it.
It's a hot, sunny day in September 1978, and a 15-year-old girl has had a bit of a difficult summer. She's left home, decided to go see her grandpa just outside of Los Angeles, California, but she's been travelling for a long time, and she's tired. But this is California in the 1970s, and as a teenage girl with no income, the only way she's getting anywhere is by hitchhiking. So after walking for a while, her legs get tired, and on a road in Modesto, California, at a junction along with a couple of other hitchhikers, she stops, stands and waits, holding up a makeshift sign saying "Going South," to let any passing drivers know she's looking for a free ride. Before long, a blue van pulls over onto the side of the road, and she runs down to the passenger door hoping to get in. After a brief exchange with the driver, she opens the door, hops in the passenger seat, and away they go. But before they drove away, two other hitchhikers, two boys in their early 20s, had been waiting at the same spot with the same signs asking for a ride south. However, the driver of this van, which could comfortably fit all four passengers, said he only had space for one passenger, and it had to be the girl. Despite warnings from the boys to not go with the man alone, the girl was desperate and tired, and so she jumped in. A decision which would go on to change the rest of her life forever. But what would happen over the course of the next 24 hours? And how would this young girl come to find herself stranded in the middle of nowhere, just trying to survive? Let's find out.
Oh, I don't like this already. The warning signs were there. If somebody's saying, don't do it, why are you going to do it?
But she's desperate. She's tired.
Take a seat on the floor for a bit. Rest those legs. And then you go, let's shake it, break it, make it bounce. Let's keep it trotting. You can tell I've never hitchhiked in my life.
No, I've never hitchhiked either. It's never appealed to me. I think probably because we are children after this age. But I just always thought it was a dangerous thing to do. And I kind of grew up knowing that it was a dangerous thing to do. So I just didn't do it.
But also, I never left the house, so I wouldn't have an excuse to go hitchhiking. So for me, the thought of going, hello, can you take me to Southend-on-Sea? Nah, I'll just stay in Chelmsford. Thank you very much. Good night. God bless.
Yeah, that seems like a sensible thing to do. But before we dive into today's case, please be warned that this is a rough one. It contains depictions of sexual violence and assault, abuse and violent bodily harm against a minor. So do be warned. And should you wish to listen to something lighter instead, we can suggest heading back in the archives to the War of the Worlds hoax or the Tammy Faye episode, or just listen to a spooky sleepover or two and we'll see you here next time instead. Now, to begin today's story, let's head to Las Vegas, Nevada in the swinging 60s. Las Vegas is in its heady heyday. The lights are bright, the drinks are strong. Elvis is soon to begin his 7-year-long residency, playing 636 back-to-back shows. Thanks, cocaine. And the place is shiny and new. Mary Vincent is born into this world. She's one of 7 children, and her mother is a blackjack dealer. A fun and exciting job which the young girl aspires to. Her mother's husband, as she refers to him, so I'm not quite sure if this is her dad or not. So there's a good reason she may have distanced herself from claiming him as her relation, but I've not been able to work out whether this is her dad or not.
Okay.
But he's in the military, and so the family is shipped off to the Philippines just shortly after she's born.
Mabuhay.
This man is then away for 2 years on service, and he's a very transient person in their lives. They move back to the States a little later on, and this is where the Vegas life begins. Now, it's not known if Mary has purposefully kept the details of her childhood minimal when retelling her story, but what we do know is that she claims this man in their lives, her mother's husband, is an aggressive and violent individual. She claims he was abusive verbally, physically, and sexually, and so her childhood is difficult to say the least. And so she and her siblings spend their formative years living in fear when this man is at home with them. So one day, 14-year-old Mary is abused so badly by this man that her sister says to her she has to leave home as she's scared for her life.
Oh, no.
She tells Mary how to hitchhike, something which Mary had never heard of before. Mary's sister tells her everything she needs to know to get as far away from the family home as possible. She tells Mary to go to California, where her grandpa lives, and she tells her how to go to truck stops, make signs, and basically saves her life by getting her out of harm's way. Mary Vincent is now out on the road, escaping her abusive home environment. She doesn't really have much of a plan, apart from trying to make it to family members' houses, who are dotted along the way from Nevada to Los Angeles. At just 14 years old, she hitchhikes, spends nights outside sleeping behind bins, and for a while, she is without a permanent home. She stays at her uncle's house, gets a boyfriend. Well, he was reasonably older than her, so we can't really call him that. An opportunist groomer, we'll say instead.
Yes, I mean, if the shoe fits.
And she stays with him in a car for a bit before he gets arrested and she's back out on her own. And just FYI, he was arrested on rape charges against a woman who wasn't Mary. So I think that tells us all we need to know about him.
This diva can't catch a break, can she?
No, she really can't. I do feel so sorry for her. And at just 14 years old.
I mean, we've discussed at length what we were doing at 14. Not hitchhiking.
No, definitely not. She's just a baby and she's having to sleep behind bins. And also that was summer as well when she was in that car. So can you imagine how hot it would have been in a car in California?
You wouldn't leave a dog in a car these days. Imagine being a child in the 70s.
Yeah, doesn't really bear thinking about. So during this time on the road, she also celebrates, and I'm going to put that in inverted commas because I don't think it really was much of a celebration, a birthday. So she's now 15. Yay,
Okay.
Happy birthday.
I don't think anybody's bringing the funfetti cake out for her, are they?
I don't think so. It doesn't seem that way, does it? So Mary is just going from place to place, trying to get to her grandpa's, but she's still a way off. She's tired, she's had enough, and she just wants to get to where she's going. As she's walking, she comes across a section of road which has multiple joining points for multiple highways. She spots some other hitchhikers and decides that it's time to get a ride to save her feet. She chats to two other guys for a while and she asks if she can stand with them because they are also heading to the same place as her. They have a sign which says going south. And so all three of them stand and wait in the hopes that someone will pick them up. After a short while of waiting, a blue van pulls over. Now, we're talking one of those classic 70s hippie vans, so probably something like the Manson family used to travel around in. So it's not small. This is a big van.
Yeah, like the Mystery Machine.
So all three hitchhikers go towards the blue van, and the driver draws down his window and says he can only take one passenger because he doesn't have any seats in the back, only the ones up front. He points at Mary and says, "I've only got room for her."
I don't like that. Instantly, you are singling out the female.
Mm-hmm.
You could be like, I've only got room for one. Fight it out amongst yourselves. Yeah, I'd be getting that fire exit door and there isn't one. We're outdoors.
Yeah, you're already outdoors, so you're already out. Now, the boys instantly gave Mary a warning. One she didn't heed. They said she shouldn't go in there. But at this point, Mary had been on her own for weeks. She's tired and desperate, and she just wants to get to her grandpa. She looks at this guy. He's old. Well, old to her. He's in his 50s. And she said he looked like a grandpa to her. So she just decides to hop in the van, despite the warning from the boys, and off they go. So Mary and her new acquaintance are now barreling along the roads, headed towards the interstate. She doesn't really say much to this guy. After all, what would a 15-year-old and a man in his 50s have to chat about? He says he has to make a stop at his home to pick up some stuff as he's moving house. And Mary says okay, as she needs to use the bathroom. Now, Mary went into the home and she said she scanned the rooms as she figured if anything bad was going to happen to her, this is where it would go down. But she used the toilet, and the man picked up 3 black rubbish bags out of the living room, and then they left again.
God, no, sorry. My mind is going to places it shouldn't. And instantly I'm like, oh, I don't like this.
But I can see from Mary's point of view, she's gone into this house and she thinks I am on my own with him and I'm completely isolated. If they then leave the place, I can see that she thinks she's now safe with him.
Maybe I've got Freddy foreshadowing and I know something bad's about to happen. So my mind is just going, what's in those bags? Is it a body? Is she going to be next? Anyway, I feel like I'm jumping the gun. Now, divas, you know I love a game to keep you busy, and I've truly been hooked on the new mobile game, RuPaul's Drag Race Match Queen. It's a match 3 puzzles game, but with a fabulous drag and fashion twist. All you gotta do is clear the puzzles to earn Ru dollars, unlock wigs, outfits, and makeup, and just keep leveling up your drag wardrobe until your looks are runway ready to impress them judges. And yes, everyone's favourite toot and boot actually comes to life. You style a look, put it up for votes, and climb the leaderboard to win prizes. You'll also see some of the most iconic queens from Drag Race popping in, like yours truly, with exclusive looks of theirs to unlock. The whole game is just jam-packed with fun and full of Drag Race antics that you do not want to miss out on. It's free on iOS and Android, easy to play anywhere, and trust me, you are going to want to play this game. So now it's your chance to play and slay on that runway. Just search Match Queen in the App Store.
So, who was this stranger that picked up Mary? This was Lawrence Singleton. Lawrence was once a merchant seaman. He'd recently gone through a divorce, hence the moving out, and he had a drinking problem. Lawrence, who went by Larry on a daily basis, was a functioning alcoholic. The reason his marriage had broken down, and now he was out on his own. Lawrence didn't tell Mary any of this, though. He just said he had a daughter her age, a tact to surely try and make her feel more relaxed in his presence. But soon, as the miles progressed, Lawrence seemed to become strangely focused and distant. Not long after they got back in the van, Mary lit up a cigarette, smoking at 15. I definitely wasn't doing that. Definitely was doing that.
But this is what I mean. She's just doing normal teenager things. And to me as a 31-year-old, I'm going, oh my God. But like, I remember the girls puffing around the back of the sports hall.
Yeah, that's how it was, wasn't it? I remember trying to buy cigarettes in shops by counting out my 2p's and getting denied.
I can only imagine what little rascal Nikki Druce was doing at 15.
Yeah, you can imagine, can't you? And probably all of those thoughts are correct.
Well, not all of them.
She says, coughing after lung damage from smoking at 15. Lawrence had also loaded 2-gallon jugs of liquid into the van before they'd left and had been sipping on them with almost rhythmic regularity. The jugs were seemingly alcohol, and as the miles progressed, it seemed Lawrence was filling himself with Dutch courage. Soon after lighting the cigarette, Mary sneezed, and Lawrence took this as an opportunity to pull her close towards him to check her temperature. Mary instantly found this repulsive and creepy and sensed he was up to no good, so she distanced herself as much as she could from him, pushing herself back against the van door. Fearing the creep wouldn't keep his hands to himself, Mary reached under the passenger seat to find anything that she could use as a weapon. She found a metal stick, like a collapsible thing for measuring stuff, and she waved it at him and told him to back off. Strangely, the situation de-escalated quickly, and Lawrence said he didn't want to hurt Mary, and after a few more miles along the road, Mary began to get sleepy and couldn't keep her eyes open any longer. So we're at a bit of a make or break point here, aren't we, Shez? So we're in the middle of nowhere. It's only a short while before dusk, and if Lawrence keeps up the speed, we're at most about an hour away from Mary getting home. So in this situation, would you be thinking like Mary to stay in the truck and just hope nothing happens, or would you ask him to let you out?
Be asking her, I'd be stop, drop, and roll. But It's all hypothetical, isn't it, in these situations? Because you never know until you're in it. You might think he's a creep, he's a weirdo. I can push through for the next mile and a half. I genuinely would be like, no, protect yourself at all costs. Jump out of that car.
I think that I would actually be thinking, right, if I end up stranded in the middle of nowhere, I'm going to be in a worse situation.
Think of the coyotes.
Exactly. And if you're on the side of the road, you don't know who else is going to pick you up either. So it could be,
Could be worse.
yeah, out of the frying pan into the fire. So I would be thinking, right, if I've got this metal stick, I can keep this bastard away from me.
He's sipping on his go-go juice.
Yeah, and let's just get to where we're going, and then good night. I'll see you around.
What's 1 hour? That's 2 episodes of EastEnders.
I don't think that's what she was going to go and watch. Probably more like Dallas.
The Price is Right.
Something like that.
Sure.
So Mary Vincent is now fast asleep in the passenger seat of Lawrence Singleton's van. She dozes for a while, but then soon she wakes up and starts looking out the window at the signs that are passing. She realises that the signs are now not the direction she wants to be going in.
Oh.
So she asks Lawrence what he's doing and why they're driving the wrong way. Lawrence must have sensed the panic in her voice as he says he's just made a wrong turn, an honest mistake, and says they need to turn around. He pulls off at the next off-ramp, but says he needs to pee, so they head to a lay-by. Lawrence gets out the car to go relieve himself, and Mary is now panicking. She thinks that things are about to take a turn, so she jumps out the van. She thinks, if I'm going to outrun this old man, then I need to go now. But she looks down and her shoe is untied.
Oh, God. Just take it off.
Lawrence is still around the back of the van, so she squats down to tie her shoe and is just about to stand up when everything goes black. She's been knocked unconscious. She now has no chance of escape.
Dear Father who art in heaven, please watch over our Mary. Please make sure she was safe and well. Please, I'm not religious, but this has got me unnerved. Amen.
Yeah, it's the creeping dread, because she has known from the beginning when she got in that van that something bad was going to happen to her. And now it's happening.
I think with things starting to get a bit sketchy, it may be a good time to hit pause and grab a coffee.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea, Shez, but have you heard of London Nootropics before? It's coffee with an added boost that's going to change your daily grind for the better.
Nikki, you got me intrigued. Tell me more, please.
Well, I'd love to, as I adore these coffees. Firstly, they taste fantastic. They're instant, so super easy to make, but they have the added benefits of adaptogens in them.
Excuse me, what's an adaptogen?
They help your body and mind adapt to physical, mental, and emotional stresses. Blending them together with a fine micro-ground coffee creates a delicious drink with additional health benefits. Their 3 blends, Flow, Mojo, and Zen, all act in the way the name suggests. If you're looking to tap into your hyperfocus, then Flow is for you. If you want some get up and go, then Mojo is your gal, and then Zen is a calm yet tapped-in blend. I love it for a post-lunch biscuit dunking brew. And then they have their newest blend, which is called Mush Love, which is in collaboration with Fantastic Fungi, the people who made that amazing Netflix doc. And it's packed full of mushroom goodness like cordyceps, lion's mane, and Hiphas de terra.
Sounds amazing. And I know I could do with some brain-boosting mushroom goodness because, trust and believe, we got to get this brain flowing.
Honestly, I've been drinking this stuff for years now, and the benefits just keep getting better and better, and they definitely have a lot to answer for in helping me get as much done as I do in a day, and you know I'm always a busy girl on the go.
Right, get me a cup now. So if you fancy sipping on something that'll boost your brain and soothe the soul, use our code KILLERS for a whopping 20% off your order at londonnootropics.com. If you subscribe, you could get an extra discount on top, which frankly is a deal I know we can all do with right now.
Give your mornings a little mush love and start your day the best way you can with a lovely cup of London Nootropics.
I cannot wait to give it a try. But shall we get back to it?
Yeah, I reckon so. Let's pick back up with the story. So, 15-year-old Mary Vincent was hitchhiking her way to safety from her abusive family home in September of 1978. She had done a lot of walking since leaving home in Nevada, and she was trying to get to her grandpa's place just outside of Los Angeles, where she could stay, hopefully for quite a while. She'd made her way to Modesto in California, and here she waited with some other hitchhikers who said she should consider her options when a man in his 50s pulled up and asked her to get in, but only her, as this huge van didn't have enough seats for the boys.
Bullshit.
Mary, out of sheer desperation, says she'd go with him, and so off the pair went. However, Mary became suspicious when this man, Lawrence Singleton, laid his hands on her, trying to check her temperature after she sneezed. Something she didn't ask him to do. After falling asleep and waking up, spotting the van was going in the wrong direction, Mary raised her concerns with the driver, who said it was an honest mistake, but that he needed to pee. Mary decided now was her time to run, but her tennis shoe was untied, so she bent down to tie it. This is when everything went black. Mary had been knocked unconscious. Mary's eyes flickered open, and she didn't know how long she'd been passed out. Above her, she could see the ceiling of the van. Next to her, a sledgehammer, the weapon that had been used to knock her out.
A sledgehammer?
And somehow she'd miraculously survived.
Ugh.
Mary knew she was in trouble. Her hands were tied behind her, and above her was the driver of the van, Lawrence Singleton. Now, this whole section for about 3 minutes or so will be really difficult to hear, so do skip ahead if you need to.
Can I?
No, I'm sorry. You have to go through this with me, I'm afraid. You've got to hold my hand too.
All right.
So, Lawrence climbed into the back of the van, and for the next 6 to 8 hours, Mary was subjected to multiple assaults. At the beginning, Lawrence inserted a knife into Mary as he was frustrated he couldn't penetrate her. Mary said she was in immense amounts of pain for the whole 8 hours, and any time Lawrence touched her. She sobbed and cried, but eventually became silent, more than likely going into shock. During this time, Lawrence would drink some more, drive some more, pull over, assault Mary, force her to drink alcohol, which made her throw up, then stop and sleep for a while, and repeat. As the sun started to rise and flood in through the windows of the van, Mary started looking for ways to escape. She couldn't get out of her restraints, but eventually she noticed that Lawrence had a scar on his stomach, and she thought if she could kick him there hard enough, she might do some damage enough for him to stop. She's so clever, isn't she? For 15 years old. So clever.
Well, I think she's street smart as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. So as Lawrence was gearing up for yet another assault, Mary kicked and screamed to set her free and fought for her life. She kicked Lawrence in the scar, and this seemed to flip a switch in him. He became enraged and picked up Mary and threw her down on the ground outside the van, cutting her restraints. He then said, "You want to be free? I'll set you free." Mary then fought with him, bearing in mind this is a 15-year-old girl against a trained military man.
Yeah.
And Lawrence threw her back down on the ground before heading back into the van. Mary hoped he was going to drive away, but instead he came back to her, raised a hatchet above his head, and Mary grabbed his arms to try and stop him. Lawrence Singleton then brought down the hatchet on Mary's left arm. She said she could feel herself falling, but was confused as to why. When she looked up, she could see why. Her arm was still grabbing onto Lawrence, but she wasn't attached to it anymore.
I'm sorry, what? Nikki Druce!
Yes.
Why are you telling me this?
I told you, this is a rough one.
The girl is looking at her arm still attached to the man's arm, holding on to it. Whoa!
Mm-hmm.
So when you lose a limb like that, it feels like you're falling.
Yep, because the weight isn't there anymore to counterbalance you. I've made Shez speechless again. This only happens once in a blue moon.
Well, all right.
In a second, Lawrence repeated the same attack on Mary's right arm, striking 3 times to hack her arm off, just below her elbow. She said she knew instantly that this was bad, and she felt the sharpness, the heat of her blood, and the pain was excruciating.
Hello, everybody listening, if you're still listening. Thank you for sticking with us. I wish I could leave like everybody else did.
Nope, you're in it for the long haul, I'm afraid. So Mary looked up as she laid in the road to see Lawrence flicking his arm repeatedly. She realised her arm, which he had severed, was still holding on to him, and it wouldn't let go. Lawrence carried out this attack with a quiet and cruel, calculated calmness. And like a discarded doll, he picked up Mary, walked to the side of the road with her in his arms, and threw her over the edge of a ravine. She fell 30 feet, breaking 4 of her ribs and obtaining several other injuries as she fell.
And she is still alive?
Mm-hmm.
She is a double amputee.
Yep.
That has just been launched. Oh my God. Oh my Christ.
So you'd think that this fall would have been the end for Mary, but she lay at the bottom of the ravine, praying that Lawrence would go. But she didn't hear the engine start up. Instead, after about half an hour, she heard the sounds of someone walking down into the ravine.
It just never ends.
Nope. Now, bearing in mind, Mary has just lost her arms and fallen from a great height, so she's not easily running away anytime soon. Lawrence had climbed down into the ravine, perhaps thinking that Mary's body would be spotted if it was left out in plain sight, and so he dragged her through the brush and shoved her into a concrete drainage pipe.
This man is sick. We knew he was sick from the drink driving. We knew he was sick when he said he just only wanted the girl. But he's just making this worse.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the worst we've ever encountered.
Yep, it is really awful. But just keep remembering,
happy ending.
Things get better. Well, they do. Okay, we'll just continue. He then said to her, "You're free now," and left her there, assuming more than likely that she would soon be dead. But Mary had survived this far, and she wasn't going to give up without a fight. Well, at least someone didn't want her to let go just yet.
Someone?
Pray
do tell, carry on.
So, Mary Vincent has just been brutally attacked, thrown down a ravine and left for dead by her attacker. But something wasn't going to let her be. As she laid in the concrete drainage pipe she'd been unceremoniously stuffed into and left to die, she had 2 options. One was to go to sleep, and one was to shuffle out, get back on her feet, and hike her way back up the ravine. Her body really wanted her to go to sleep. But then a loud voice kept shouting at her to wake up, and get help. The voice she thought was a higher force telling her to get up, as she said it kept saying, "He's going to do this to someone else." So after battling and saying she'd get up and go tomorrow, the voice got louder and louder until she couldn't ignore it. Now, whatever you believe, whether this was some shock-induced psychosis or whether it was her subconscious or even something religious, it was powerful enough to motivate her into trying to make it to safety. So she shuffled to her feet, but she was still bleeding quite a lot. So she bent down, put her wounded arms in the dust to stem the bleeding, and began the long walk back up the cliff.
I feel a bit sick.
Again, she's 15 and she is thinking, I need to stop the bleeding. I don't think I paid enough attention in science class to know that would be the case.
No.
this voice must have been so relentless to just keep going and to get her out of that tube, because she has to get out and she's got to tell somebody that this has happened.
She's making it happen.
Mary said it took her an hour. She fell multiple times, and what we have to remember as well is that she not only has her wounded arms, which would have affected her balance, she has 4 broken ribs, a hangover from the alcohol she was force-fed.
Oof.
She's dehydrated and hungry from vomiting, because bearing in mind she's not eaten anything for quite a while. And she has a knife wound between her legs. And on top of that, she's completely naked.
I completely forgot about that factor.
Miraculously, she makes it out onto the road and she starts walking. Now, this is a road which is in the middle of nowhere, so there are no cars coming. She walks for about a mile on top of the hour-long walk that she's just done, and she sees a little red sports car coming towards her. The relief that she must have felt at that moment.
Truly.
So she raises her bleeding arms and tries to flag them down. The car slows. The 2 men inside, in their 20s, stare at her open-mouthed. She is completely naked and covered in blood. And they then speed off again.
What? No. Okay. I can't say how I would respond if I saw that driving down the country roads of Essex.
The only thing I can think to the way that they reacted is that, A, they didn't think she was real. Because if you've seen something this horrific, maybe you would think, I'm seeing things. And so they drive off again.
Well, I would think it was like we're being punked.
Or they're worried for their own safety. But this is a 15-year-old girl. Apart from the situation that she is in and how she looks, she shouldn't be physically intimidating to them.
It's honestly something that most people wouldn't even see in a movie, that sight walking towards you. I know we can't speak for how everybody would react, but I would definitely at least stop and just see what the hell had happened.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're still around, if they hold that guilt with them all the time, and if found out afterwards what had happened to her, because there were no other cars coming.
Was this heavily reported in the news?
Yes.
Well, they would have seen that and gone, oh, fuck.
But anyway, poor Mary is now alone again. But this interaction, even though heartbreaking, spurs her on. She's angry now. She's getting to the end of her tether, and the next car is picking her up come hell or high water. A further 2 miles down the road, so she's now walked 3 miles in total.
Still bleeding out.
Still bleeding. A pickup comes into view. And this time, Mary isn't going to let them pass unless they run her down. So she stands in the road, raises what's left of her arms, and waves the car down. This time, it's a couple. They're on a road trip and on their honeymoon.
Oh, no. Nikki, I really hope this doesn't happen on your honeymoon.
Yeah, I really hope so too. And so they've made a wrong turn, but I like to think they made the right turn that day as they bundle up Mary, wrap her in towels and their clothing, and keep her warm in the back of their truck. They stop at the first payphone to call 911 and get Mary to the nearest hospital. Now, this is just a local hospital, so they just stitch her up and then she has to be transferred to a major infirmary where they can perform the life-saving surgery she needs.
Well, this is a spoiler alert. That happened to Derek Shepherd. He got into a car accident and got taken to a nearby hospital that wasn't equipped to cope with his injuries. Sorry for anybody that's been watching Grey's Anatomy and hasn't got to that point yet. It also happened about 10 years ago, so get over it.
Yeah, I think if you haven't watched it by that point, that's your fault, isn't it? So she receives a blood transfusion as firstly, she's lost more than half the amount of blood in her body. So technically, she should be dead.
How is she not?
Her blood has also turned toxic because there's not enough of it. Blood cleans itself, so it can't clean itself because there isn't enough of it. So we have to speed things up here, but that's not the end of the story. Mary has prosthetic arms fitted within a fortnight, and somehow she's getting stronger every day. She provides the police with a description of Lawrence Singleton that is so specific that a neighbour of his recognises him from the circulated police sketch, which goes out asking anyone to come forward with information.
What a queen. What a queen.
So Lawrence is arrested. Mary's cigarettes and burned clothing are found at his home. Mary's arms are found somewhere near the Golden Gate Bridge, where he tried to dispose of them as part of a distraction technique, saying that the two boys he'd refused to pick up, he obviously says that he did pick them up. He said they were called Pablo and Larry, because he obviously couldn't think of another name that wasn't his own name.
What a thick plank of wood shit he is.
So he says that those two were responsible for the attack. Well, he says he doesn't know anything about the attack, just that Mary was a sex worker. She wasn't.
She was a 15-year-old girl trying to go see her granddad.
And he referred to her as a $10 whore.
Right, let me at him. I'll start swinging. Let me at him. It's not often I get scrappy do, is it?
No, it isn't. I feel exactly the same about this piece of shit, because he is a piece of shit. So in court, Mary bravely appears and she stares that bastard down.
Queen.
She gives her testimony and Singleton is found guilty. But in an awful twist of fate, he only gets 14 years because that is the maximum you could get for attempted murder in California at that time.
The American law system.
But things get worse. When he's leaving the courtroom, he whispers to Mary he'll finish the job one day. And so she is well aware that at some point he'll be out and her name is on the top of his list.
It's petrifying.
Though, speeding up even more, Lawrence only serves 8 years of his 14-year sentence and is released on good behaviour. He only saw a therapist one time during that sentence. Just FYI.
This is fucked. This is bizarre. This is outrageous. And I am enraged.
However, he has to go back to living within the prison grounds in a trailer, as wherever the state tries to house him, his homes mysteriously get firebombed.
I wonder why.
I wonder why as well. Is it because you're a piece of shit? So after a name change and moving him to Florida, make of that what you will, he goes on to live a relatively normal life. And I wish Mary could say the same. But she was right. He would do this to someone again.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Well, I can't say that I'm surprised, to be honest. If you put a violent rapist in prison for only 8 years, you don't give him any therapy, and you let him out without any recourse whatsoever, what's he going to do?
Control, alt, repeat.
Now, interestingly, he is imprisoned for a couple of minor thefts, but blames his alcoholism. Yes, he's back on the drink after prison, obviously did such a good job of rehabilitating him. But he's released again.
You'd think the 8 years detox would do something for you.
They tried to release him and 500 people kept turning up every time they tried to let him out, and he was threatened with being firebombed. So this is just over and over and over that he's...
Okay, well, I've got a question for you.
I
Would you be one of those people outside protesting?
think I probably would, you know. I don't think I'd want him living in my town.
I think I'd be there as well.
So after this, he then tries to take his life via leaving his engine on and sitting in his garage. But a neighbour finds him and rescues him. If they'd known who he was, I'm sure they probably wouldn't have bothered.
Nah.
This clearly has an impact on Lawrence, as just a few days later, he decides to take somebody else's life instead. In 1997, 69-year-old Lawrence Singleton murdered Roxanne Hayes, a sex worker and mother of 3 children. Singleton employed Roxanne and took her back to his house, cooked her dinner, and then stabbed her 7 times in the stomach, chest, and face. 2 decorators who had been working at his home caught Singleton in the process of the attack, and Roxanne begged weakly for help. The police took 20 minutes to arrive after their 911 call, and Roxanne had already died by the time the officer arrived. Lawrence confessed to the murder at the police station, but in court, the defence said that Roxanne had managed to fall on the knife after Singleton had struggled with her after she'd tried to steal money from him by shoving it in her mouth. Come on now.
You can't make this shit up. I am sorry. What thicko do you have to be to believe that?
They're just clutching at straws at this point, aren't they? So they also try to blame cocaine being in her system and say it can cause violent outbursts.
Bullshit.
So this is a messy court case, but the prosecution have an ace up their sleeve. In walks Mary Vincent.
Thank goodness for the Queen.
She was right. He would do this to someone else, and he did. But here she was, ready to help get the justice she and Roxanne's family deserved. Roxanne's 11-year-old daughter had to identify her mother's dead body. So I'm just going to leave that there for us all to digest for a second, because what a piece of shit this guy is.
Yeah.
So in court, and I did read the 97-page-long transcript, the defence tried to stop the jury seeing Mary and her prosthetic arms in a number of ways, asking that the jury only listen to her testimony. They then asked that she not be allowed to lift her arms up whilst in court. And even though this was denied, it's not as if Mary would be doing that anyway. Why would she be waving her arms around? But the prosecution then pointed out that Mary hadn't been sworn in when she arrived at court, something that anyone delivering a testimony has to do. And what did she have to do that? Raise her arm to swear on the Bible. And Mary defiantly lifted her prosthetic limbs, held that Bible and swore upon it, and on the strength of her testimony and the overwhelming evidence against Singleton, the jury found him guilty and he was sentenced to death. And yes, you are allowed to cheer.
Hooray! I do not care how big of a paycheck you're getting, the defence. I want names of these bastards, because trying to make this man look innocent, I don't know how they slept at night.
I don't know how people do this, because I have done jury service only once, and it must be really hard if you know that person is guilty to be on their side, and you have to, because that's your job. So even if you know he's guilty, you have to fight for that person, and that's your job to do that. I just don't think I could do it.
But the defence trying to get an amputee to not raise their arms to show the sheer length of violence this man can curate.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's not good, is it? So, unfortunately, whilst on death row, he developed cancer, and he died before his death sentence was enacted. Mary says she feels cheated at what happened and that justice was never truly served for her or Roxanne and her family. Mary is still around. She's now an artist, something she said emerged after the attack, and has carried out charity work for victims of violent crime. She says that Singleton took everything away from her, but now she has a family, is married, and is happy. And I think that's all we can hope for in this situation, and we wish her well.
Really?
Now, there is a bit more to this case, so for the extra long extended edition, make sure you join us on Patreon, where the longer version of this episode is right now. But I'm afraid we've run out of time for today. But that was the case of Mary Vincent and Roxanne Hayes. So that was a lot, wasn't it? I told you it was a lot. And I did ask before we went into it if you would like a little bit of a heads up about this story, but you decided to go feet first in. How are you feeling about that decision now?
No, and I still stand by it, because as much as it is absolutely jarring, triggering, shocking, and downright injustice, I still want to have that true, authentic reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody else is having.
Yeah.
So as much as a heads up would have been nice, we're on this journey together, and I just glad that she has gone on to not be absolutely ruined by this experience and is doing charity for victims. She is curating art for the world and creating a family. So, Mary, we love you. We send you lots of love and strength. And just, wow, what a story.
Yeah.
Season 4, am I right?
I know. I said we'd kick off with a strong one, but yes, we would love to chat to Mary, and I have tried my best to track her down. But if anybody has any links and Mary wants to come on the show, we would absolutely love to talk to her. So get in touch if that's the case. Next time on Killers, Cults and Queens,
we'll be exploring the mysterious death of Ellen Greenberg, a woman found dead with 20 stab wounds, but her death was ruled as suicide. Join us next time to find out how this tragic story unfolds.
If you made it this far, thank you for listening. That's all for this episode, and we'll be back next Monday with a brand new case.
And we want to hear from you. We'll be discussing our thoughts and theories on Friday's bonus show, The Spooky Sleepover. So pop us an email at killerscultsqueens@gmail.com.
Or DM us at Killers Cults Queens on Instagram. Leave us a comment on Spotify or YouTube, or send us a message on Patreon, because we want to know exactly what you think. If you've been affected by any of the themes in this episode, please have a look at the description for lots of helpful resources.
Remember, you can watch our full-length videos on YouTube and join our exclusive community over on Patreon at patreon.com/KillersCultsQueens.
See you next time, and don't be a killer or join a cult.
Just be a queen. Goodbye.
Goodbye.